Hello and welcome back to another episode of CaseyBuilds Live. Today we're going to keep on working on Ferrari. We started yesterday in honor of Ferrari's 1000th F1 race, which happened this morning, and that's pretty much all we need to say about the race. But today we're going to do a little bit more optimistic a build than we usually on Sundays try to do a little bit easier of a build, finish up earlier. Today, we're gonna do a fairly aggressive one. I didn't realize this set, when I promised it yesterday, I didn't realize this set was over 1,000 pieces. So it's a little bit more than we usually do on a Sunday, but I'm gonna do my best to fly on through. So we're gonna just jump right in to the set. So let me grab the tray. Very delicately place it so I don't mess up all of the wonderful sorting that Lex does. And yes, hello Mom and Dad. Let's switch over to the build cam, and yeah, we really need to. We're gonna move today. We're gonna try to cover a lot of ground fast, which is something that a Ferrari excels at. So this set was from 2015, which is 10 years plus, 11 years after the set that we built yesterday. But this is also a totally different kind of a set. Where are they? Oh, you put them all in there, you tricky little... I'm gonna have to just... Yep. Yep. Very creative. Yeah, this is a different type of set. This is totally not a Technic set. This is a very very much just more of a normal build. Now there's going to be a few pieces here and there like this to give the thing some structure, but this is going to look more like an actual shape, a sculpted car than the other Technic ones, where there's a whole lot of holes and gaps and things to make it look a lot more technical. So in preparation for this today, I was starting to Google a little bit about Ferrari stuff. And one of the things that I found fascinating was their naming conventions. So I love cars. Ferrari is one brand that I've always respected, but never really learned a whole lot about. I knew they were out there and that they were awesome, but they like particularly their naming conventions never made any sense to me whatsoever. But I learned a lot about that. So it turns out that, well, they have a few different naming conventions. When they started out, they used a 3-digit moniker for it was the unit displacement. It wasn't even the total engine displacement, but it was for per cylinder. So like the original 125S Ferrari that they only made 2 of, that one was 125, so it had a each cylinder had a displacement of 125. So it wasn't. A lot of cars will use the full engine displacement. So like a 3.5 liter engine will be 3.5 or something like that. The Ferraris used just the individual cylinder, and then the 125S, the S was just for sport. And there's lots of other things that follow that. They have lots of other things like a GTB, GTS, GTO, and those all correspond with certain body styles. Again, something I hadn't put together. The GTSs were always for convertibles, The S standing, so the GT is always Gran Turismo. The S is for, can't remember, Scatera? No, that's not Scudera. Spore, can't remember what the S stands for, but the S translates to discovery is one translation of it, but it also means some kind of open top or something like that. So it's always used for their convertibles. Although nowadays their convertibles are called Spider instead. They don't use the GTS. GTO has only been used in a few models. Those were for ones that were race models, and the O stands for Omologata or something like that. Those are the pure race models. So the letters mean what the letters mean. The numbers, those are typically the way Ferrari loves their V12s, even though the Ferrari we built yesterday was a 10 and the F40 is only an 8-cylinder. Which I'll talk about in a second. But the V12s were the ones that would typically use a single unit displacement number. But then you have models like the F40, and apparently they thought, well, there are going to be some special models, and we will start those with an F. So there's F40, F50, and the F is more of just an indicator that this is something special. And the F40 is for the 40th anniversary of Ferrari. The F430 was a 4.3 liter engine, so it kind of broke the rules. But Ferrari can break their rules if they want to, I suppose. If you're thinking about like Magnum PI, he drove the 308, which was not an indicator of the single unit. It was actually a 3-liter, 8-cylinder engine. So they have a few different naming conventions that they sort of use willy-nilly. And you just kind of have to be paying attention and I guess ask a lot of questions if you actually want to know what everything corresponds to. However, I also learned that over the course of Magnum PI, Season 1 he drove the original 308, then Season 2... Oh, GTB, the B stands for Berlinetta, which is the coupe roadster, sometimes used for the 2+2, where it's got the two rear seats, which aren't really seats. That's what the B stands for. Also, sometimes there's an M in the model name, like the 575M, and the M is a... I don't know if it necessarily stands for Maranello, but the M always denotes that it is a modified version of a previous one. So it doesn't warrant a full new name, but it is enough of a bump to require some kind of a change, so they just throw an M on the end. All interesting things. But Magnum PI, that's what I was going to say. So he used one model the first year. They apparently auctioned them off a lot after seasons ended. It was always a 308, but there's a 308, I want to say it was a GTB, and then a GTBI, and then a... can't remember. Anyway, Wikipedia has all sorts of wonderful, interesting information about the naming conventions of Ferraris, which I went down the rabbit hole this morning and I was fascinated. Yeah, I suppose Tom's Cars would only be a reason that some people would have watched Magnum PI. But also the Ferrari F40, the 40-year anniversary Ferrari, was the last Ferrari model that Enzo had a part in. He had his fingers on. Passed away in 1988, which was in the middle of the run of this thing. They made these from 87 to 92, and then they kept making race-only specific versions for a few years after that. But this was the final Enzo-blessed model. Incidentally, the Ferrari Enzo was another one of the specially named models that should have probably borne the F something name, but they just called it a Ferrari Enzo. So their naming conventions are less rules and more guidelines. Which I find pretty offensive personally. Kind of bugs me quite a bit when companies do that. BMW has completely messed up all of their naming recently. Which also makes me very angry with them. But nothing I can do about it. Hello there, Cordy. I also have a few happy birthdays to mention today. I don't know if Bo James is watching, but it's his son's birthday today. Also, if AJ is out there, I don't know if I've ever actually seen him comment on one of these streams, but it's his birthday as well. So happy birthday, Bodie. Happy birthday, AJ. You are two of the most awesome people I know. And so it's only appropriate that you share a birthday. Cordy, that is an excellent observation. Yes. Doesn't seem like it would be that tough to me to come up with a naming convention and stick to it. I don't know why companies have such a hard time to doing that. It's all about marketing. All of them. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe the marketing teams get bored and think, well, we made this convention and now we don't have a job anymore. Because all they got to do is make a new car and it's already got a name. And so we should come up with new ways to name these things so that we still have a job. And then they go and mess them all up. Anyway, another interesting, fun little... Exactly. Another interesting little factoid that I learned, the F40, this guy here, when they were making this, they were sort of answering a problem that they had heard from some of their customers, and that they thought Ferraris were getting a little too plush, a little too comfortable, and so they wanted to make this one a little bit more pure. And so it's very, very sparse interior. There's not a lot of comfort features here. As Ferrari getting back to there, we're gonna just make a car that's ridiculous and fast. So it's a very, very pure car. It does have a 2.9 liter engine, twin turbo, and it does 0 to 60 in about 4 seconds. So compared to today's supercars, it's good enough, I suppose, fine, but certainly for the late 80s, those are some pretty monster numbers. But also, again, it's more than just the speed of it, it's the pure driving experience. Yeah. And the 288 GTO carries the GTO moniker. Uh-oh. I'm missing some pieces. They're 2x4 short studded pieces, black. 2. 2x4. Put these guys away wrong last time. Thank you. Okay, I distracted myself enough to not remember if I finished my thought. GTO meaning it's one of their intended to be a race spec. It's not meant to be street legal. It is a race car, or perhaps a barely street legal race car. But yeah. That said, this thing will go over 200 miles an hour. So would be Be fun to take one out for a spin someday, if you ever have the opportunity. Oh no, missing some other pieces. No, tough for me to describe them. I did a garbage job taking this thing apart last time. Thank you. How embarrassing. I don't know how I messed that up so badly. Yeah, you can see this build is a lot different than really any of the other cars that I've built on here so far. This one is all about the getting it to look like a Ferrari. It's building up the sculpture of it, less about getting all of the internal guts working.
Well, that's the difference between expectation and non-expectation, right?
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Seriously? I can't describe them. This is embarrassing. Before the black fellows. For these. Sorry, that's trays. I must have been sleepy when I was taking this guy apart.
You were. It was when you were moving.
Okay. Apparently I thought the seats here were entirely part of the next bag. So when I take these things apart, I do them in reverse. I start at the end of the instructions and work my way forward. Or backward. Whatever the right word is. And sometimes you get to chunks of instructions which seem like, okay, I can safely I don't need to go through the instructions, I can just take this block, this goes into bag 2, and then you just kind of skip ahead and speed up a little bit, and I did that a little incorrectly on this one, it would seem. But you can look on the interior of the car here. We've got the base of the seats, we've got an e-brake, so you can pull up on that, and then we've got a shift lever here. They are purely ornamental. If this was a Technic set, those would probably actually do stuff. But since it isn't, they just look pretty. Okay, and now we're going to build our instrument cluster here with some silly little gauges. Tiny little steering wheel. All quite different than a Technic. Yeah, this thing was a bucket with wheels. Pure. is the word that Ferrari would use to describe this. Pure. Okay. And unlike yesterday, we don't really need to work too hard to get our steering column to line up with our wheels, since there is no mechanical bits connecting them. But we do have a nice Ferrari branded steering wheel. Now, Ferrari apparently also has, for some reason, heritage in Japan, which I hadn't really known too much. Ah, yes, the 959. One of the most awesome Porsche models ever created. So that was certainly what this was kind of competing with, although they were entirely different sorts of vehicles. The Porsche was the height of luxury, driving perfection, all of that. I mean, it was an amazing car, power, technology, creature comforts, like air conditioning. But Ferrari, this was their response to it, sort of. But at the same time, Ferrari actually said, this is a totally different vehicle than the 959. This would have happened regardless of whether the 959 existed or not. This one is... It is a different type of car for somebody who's looking for something... This is not going to appeal to the 959 owner. Or at least, it's not going to appeal for the same reasons. I personally wouldn't mind owning both of them. Not that that would ever happen. Yeah, the 959 was one of those amazing models that was never available in the US, but now people are importing them. Bill Gates and Seinfeld both really had a thing for it, and they're part of why the 959 exists over here today. And just over the hill from where we live, there's a place called Canepa that actually imports 959s and gets them street legal. So, I've seen a whole bunch of them in one place in their garage, which is sort of a special treat. So this model was originally meant, the F40 was supposed to have 400 units built total, and that ended up being somewhere between, over the span of time that they were building them, somewhere between 1,300 and 1,400. And I want to say 273 of them made it to the United States. That I don't remember. I don't know about that. But at the time, the MSRP was $400,000, which certainly sounds like a lot of money, And then when you think about the fact that it was in 1987, that would actually be equivalent to a car costing $900,000 today, adjusting for inflation. Oh, you've got to be kidding me.
What are you missing?
Mm.
What do you need?
That. How embarrassing.
Almost as
Oh.
embarrassing as me missing a bag.
What does... Canepa. Canepa. I don't actually... I'm not sure what they do. I know when I was touring the place, they mentioned it, but I was just so excited to be there, I really wasn't paying a whole lot of attention. Thank you, Secret Squirrel. Nice seeing you again today. I saw that you had commented on one of my previous ones about my little rotating logo in the corner, so I sent you a message back about that. Oh, jeez. Why don't you just bring tray 2 over here? Why don't you just bring it over? Why don't you just put it right there? Problem solved. Kind of. I've got a lot of pieces missing from bag 1, so that means I did a terrible job putting this thing back together, or taking it apart last time. Ah, good. Glad you got it. Eh. Yes, I do have a helper. She's a good wife. Okay, where does this fit? Looks like that goes there. Hopefully that's the right spot. Looks like it is. We'll know as soon as we put this side down if that was in the right spot or not. It'll be an easy adjustment to make if it was in the wrong spot. Yep, missing tons of pieces. Well, there you go. Thank you for the information, Mike 16. Really, right now, I want to get past bag 1 onto bag 2, and hopefully that's the end of my... Hopefully that will be the end of my shame. So typically when I take sets apart, it's kind of therapeutic. This is going to be a no-duh kind of a thing when I say it, but it really is like building a set in reverse. And so, if you enjoy building sets, it's a similar and slightly different type of challenge to build it in reverse. And so I enjoy it. Oh, that's why. This is all bag one. This tray is also bag one. They were just split up by page number.
Oh, I couldn't order.
Yeah, no, that's you're doing the right thing. But this set wasn't. I kind of had to make up some of my own. Kind of like Ferrari with their naming conventions. I had to make up some of my own rules when taking this thing apart, and I boffed some of them. So there you go.
Okay, let's never build this one on camera again, okay?
What?
So let's never build this one on camera again, okay?
Yeah. So yeah, Secret Squirrel. I would recommend if you're looking for somebody that to sort your pieces for you, the easiest way to do that is just marry her. At which point she's legally obligated to do so.
I don't think that's true.
I'm pretty sure that's how it works. So
I don't think so.
you're doing a great job over there. Thank you. So this is actually an interesting thing. The one that I wasn't sure if it was in the right place or not, you can see here that it actually, if it was plumb, it would be like that. And since it's only attached via one stud, you can actually twist it around here, and there'll be some more pieces to lock it into place, like the one I just put down. But it gives the slight angle here that it needs. So kind of a neat trick that they did. So that's a good point, Cordy. Perhaps we should move to Denmark to make sure that the legal obligations are intact. Ooh. I can tell you this has been a very stressful set for her to sort today. I find that the older sets, I mean, this one's from 2015, so it's not even really that much older, but the organization of all of the sets, Lego, that is just one of the many ways that Lego has learned from everything it does over the years, and the way that their pieces and bags and instruction order are organized are yet one of the many things that they constantly improve on. So if you go out and buy a set today, it's generally speaking going to be a higher quality set than one from the past. Which again might sound like a no-duh kind of a thing, but they are constantly improving. Incidentally, Secret Squirrel, she is a softball player, and was that my wedding gift to you? Was a bat?
Yep.
Yeah, I bought her a bat as a wedding present, so she does have one.
It's very dusty right
True. She mentions it's very dusty right now, sadly. Shelter in place makes it hard to go out and play softball, especially with all the leagues closed.
now. This is fucking awful. So I guess it doesn't matter if I put the two bags together.
They should be separated out by page number, so it would probably be easier if you didn't. Yeah, I agree with you, Cordy. It's nice that they have made things a little bit more bite-sized. Even if you are sitting down to do a build in one sitting and don't intend to space it out, like obviously having smaller bags, it makes it easier when you're spacing out a build over multiple sessions, because then it's easier to keep track of everything. But even if you're sitting down and doing it in one session, it just keeps things moving a little bit quicker, and you're not having to hunt around for pieces as long when they're in smaller bags. Totally agree. That is a very good point. I doubt she would ruin her bat by bashing me with it. What's that?
I don't look good in orange.
I heard something about good in orange.
I said I don't look good in orange.
Oh.
What's the color they make you wear in prison?
Okay. Very interesting shape here. Unique. Don't know why we built it that way, but we did. And we'll sure see why in a minute. Okay, again, 2x, but they don't duplicate the ingredients, so we shall do it ourselves while in the process.
Makes it louder drive.
Yes. Okay. More seat bits, and ultimately part of the reason why I missed so many things on the first area there. So when it comes time to take this thing apart, definitely need to pay more attention than I did last time. Oops. There we go. Now those seats look like they almost might be too comfortable. Given, well, that's gonna be less comfortable now. I broke it. Okay. Oh gosh. All right. Turns out the driver's seat was a little trickier to put in than the passenger seat because the steering column was in the way. All right. Okay. Seat is back together. Take 2. Steering column removed from the issue. There we go. All right. 2 seats in place. Steering column back down. There we go. All right. Okay, no 2x on this one. So whatever it is we're building, who knows? That looks like maybe a... I don't know. I don't know what that is yet. This set doesn't say the scale, but but it is an officially licensed Ferrari product. Yeah, it doesn't say what the scale is, but it is 10 inches long. So, if you would look up the length of an actual F40, we could calculate the scale. Ooh. Shoot. Where did you go? A little piece? Oh. Nope, it was under the chair. Haha. Okay. All of these guys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 2 and 4. All right. That's it. These. Okay, 1/18th scale. So that's almost half of the one that we built yesterday. Sort of. Scale yesterday was a 1/10th scale. So close. Close to half. A lot of beautiful red in this set. Obviously a necessity for Ferrari. Oops.
How old is the Ferrari?
Lex is asking me how old the Ferrari company is. Well, let's see here. Enzo. When did he make his first one? In the 30s?
So we went through World War II.
I think. Does that sound right? I think so.
So during World War II, what did they build for?
I do not know that history information. Mm-hmm. Oh, this is the roof of the vehicle. Okay, that goes in there. This guy goes through the whole thing. And now we get to push in these pieces that we left out from the very beginning. coincidentally, these pieces that we're putting in right now are some of the ones that will make this set super not fun to take apart later. Anyway, I love all of the various car sets that Lego comes out with. I like these sorts of sets, these model car sets. I love the new fancy Technic sets that they do. I like them when they're modern cars. I like them when they're classic cars. I wish that they would just... Lego could devote their entire company to just building car sets and I would be happy. Alright, this is one of the things that I appreciate about this set was they actually put... So one of the things that really bugs me is when you have to put stickers on windshields. This set, the red actually came printed on the windshield itself already. And to me that is such a huge improvement. I already don't like stickers, but the ones that you're supposed to put on the clear pieces, particularly the windshields, are the most offensive to me. So nice that we don't have to do that. Oh, right, the F40 was the 40th anniversary car, which would mean 1947, since the F40 came out in 87. So it was after World War II. No, actually, I kind of only focus on the actual official Lego sets. I've built a couple of Mega Bloks sets, and each time that I've ever built a Mega Bloks set, it reminds me of just how much I hate building things that aren't official Lego sets, or at least Lego bricks and pieces. So, no, I am unfamiliar with Brickmania. Though I take from your asking that it is something that you probably enjoy, which is also totally fine. Is Brickmania like a Mega Bloks kind of a thing? Do they actually make pieces? Or are they simply kind of custom instruction sets and then you can buy the pieces you need off a Bricklink or something?
Does Bricklink do Mega Bloks pieces also?
No. Okay, stickers on the... Yeah. Stickers are gross. Okay. Yeah, Lex was wondering about if Ferrari had existed during World War II and if they had, what they did to help out with the effort. Ugh! So they do a creative job on this set with the doors. So some of the stuff that's iconic with the F40 are certainly some of the air scoops inlets, vents, all those sorts of things. And they do a really good job on this set of making really using standard Lego pieces and making very subtle sorts of nods to the way that all of these things are meant to actually be sculpted. So they did a really good job with this set in that regard. And here's the interior of the door panel. Not plush. Uh-oh. Got a handle to grip on there. Okay, this fits in here. There we go. Now we have a door. You can see the way that this actually lines up very nicely. So they really did a great job getting a lot of these elements. Oh, okay. Well, that's a good reason not to build anything. Their factory is bombed. So, yep. Okay, now for the other side, same stuff that we just did, just in reverse. Another door. Brickmania sells sets made of real Lego pieces. Okay. Custom printed real Lego minifigs. Okay. Well, I might have to check those out. I'm not exactly hurting for new sets to build, but I do love. I do love staying on top of these things, so I will check those out. Thank you for the tip. So you can see here we have this slanted piece, and this one goes across the top of it and doesn't actually connect all the way across. This is the one that I was putting together on the last one, and it snapped on me because I was pushing over here. But very creative way to get the proper sort of gap on the door for the handle there. Okay. Another door, other side of the car. There we go. Okay, now the cab there is pretty much done. Alright, and we're still... Okay, we're about halfway done and we're an hour in, so we're making pretty good time. I was actually worried about our time constraints today, but it seems like we're going to be alright. we are done with this tray. So as soon as I finish putting these pieces down here, we will be on to the next one. And there we go. And on to what is officially bag 2. So, because of the way this set was set up and because the bags were so large, when I was taking it apart last time, I actually artificially created some of my own bags. I will check it out. Secret squirrel. Alright, now we need to build our engine. So, again, this is not going to be like a Technic engine. This one will be mostly just to look pretty. And while I prefer the highly technical builds, every once in a while you can get one of these model builds that just is meant to sort of look like the general, make it look right, and that's okay from time to time. Okay, we are these guys. And where did you hide my little black connectors? There they are. There's so much stuff on these trays. What? It's hide, yeah, hide and seek. So we have, it's going to sit down here. That's going to be our exhaust, I think. This is a mid-engine. Aha! Alright, so some of these pieces were broke the last time I took it apart. You can kind of see this one here has snapped in half. So after I took it apart the last time, I went on to Lego site and said, hey, these pieces broke. And Lego is really good about sending you out replacement pieces if stuff breaks. You just put in the set number, and it's no charge. They just send them out to you. They take you on your word. Okay, those are my replacements right over there. Whoops. Oh, yeah, that's fine. It's another broken one. These little hairline fractures, that one's broken. It's actually almost impossible for me to see the ones that are broken here until I try to put it on, and then they spread apart and you can tell. But Lego makes it really easy. You just go onto their site, you go to a form, you say this was the set number, and they say, oh, we're really sorry, please tell us what happened to your piece. And you tell them which piece broke and how, so that they can improve it, and then they just send you out replacements. So I certainly haven't had to use that very often. The dark brown pieces seem to break more often than any other. But Lego has not once ever complained about me asking for replacements. So, oh. The Lamborghini. I actually am going to be posting just recently. So when I first started my channel, I had intended to make it all time-lapse builds, and then I didn't. And then Shelter in Place started, and I thought, okay, well, I'm gonna start doing these streams. And then literally a week ago, I started messing around doing time lapses with my iPad. And so I built the Lamborghini during the middle of the week last week and planned to put up a time lapse of that. It is a very neat build. It is very dense. Compared to the Bugatti and the Porsche, I think the instructions were not great. It seems like they wanted to try to make it more complicated, and the instructions did a very poor job of getting you to put things in the right spots, which was really annoying. The car ends up looking amazing. I think they were just trying to make something that was even more awesome than their previous one. Going from the Porsche to the Bugatti, I think the ramp up was pretty linear there, and I would say they were trying to go for the same thing from the Bugatti to the Lambo. It's a fun build. It's a really hard build. They do enough things differently. With the Porsche, you built the frame, the foundation of everything, then you build the body and you put it over top, which was really cool. With the Bugatti, you build the front half and the back half, and then you end up sticking them together. And so both of those are built the same way that the cars are actually built. The Lamborghini is more of just a bottom-up build, which I don't know enough about the way Lamborghinis are built. It could very well be that's how they are built. So it's different it's different enough from the Porsche and Bugatti to be interesting and worth getting. But I would say the quality of the build is not as good as the previous two had been. So, complicated answer. Hopefully that helps you out. Maybe it was too much information. Okay, I'm trying to get... There's all these, all the piping on the engine here. They're actually using little minifig revolvers to look like the piping. So, clever use of that. There we are. Yeah, but certainly if you have the other two and really enjoy those sorts of Technic sets, it's absolutely worth getting. I wouldn't say don't get it, but just be prepared to be upset with it while you're building it. And if you're not afraid to be upset with it while you build it, then you'll be totally fine. There were a few different times when I was going through and I looked at the instructions and I said out loud, I have no idea what you want me to do right now. And I've certainly built a lot of Lego sets over the years, and I feel like I don't usually get perplexed by looking at the instructions. So for me, that sort of means that if I was having trouble with it, it was probably an indicator that the instructions weren't really the best design instructions. Cordy actually talks about the... Oh man, I can never remember the name of these. The Instructions Plus, is that what they're called? There were a couple of different times where I was building the Lamborghini and I thought, I wish I could just pan around right now on my instructions and look at this from a different angle. another broken one. We'll put that off to the side. That one feels broken, but is not, apparently. Okay. Yeah, I do love the Technic car sets. The 911, the 911, what was this? RS? No, RSR. This one I thought was eh. After building the orange one, that was sort of a letdown. I was expecting something on the level of the orange of the GT3 RS. And I was sort of disappointed. I think if that one had come out first, I would have liked it a little bit better. I did really like the... Oh, I did this as a build on here. Also, the Fast and Furious Dom's Charger, I thought was a great, cheaper Technic set, car set. It was definitely a different scale type of car than one of the fancy ones here, but for what it was, it kind of had a very old-fashioned Technic feel to it while building it. It was more simple, but an updated version of simple. I really liked it a lot. Definitely one of the better, cheaper. Yeah, if somebody was looking to get into tech, I mean, obviously you already have them, but the Dom's Charger would be one that if somebody was looking to kind of get into Technic sets, it would certainly be one that I would recommend. Thought they did a great job with it, which is weird. A lot of people, when I was reading reviews about that set, a lot of people seemed to dislike it. They said it was just a big, boring box. And that's what a charger is. So Lego kind of nailed it. I think it was people expecting it to be a little bit more like the bigger Technic sets. But for what it was, I thought it was great. Okay. More faux engine bits here. What are the pieces I need? That one and that one. Okay. Oh, hey there, Daniel. Don't think I've seen you on the stream before. Welcome. We're getting a pretty neat looking engine here. Ah, In fact, it is done. Gets to be part of the car now. See here, this drops in here. Fits in ever so nicely. And one of the things that I always mention that I like about Lego designs in particular is so much of this engine now that we just built is not visible at all. Like, you can't, if you look at it from any angle, you're not going to see a bunch of the stuff we just did, all the care we took to get the piping all going the right way, and can't see it. And that's one of the things that's neat about Lego sets is even the stuff that's not visible, they care about the fun of the build the whole way through. And it's not about just the finished product, it's about having a good experience to get there. And so they do such a good job of making the painting both sides of the fence, which is one of our sayings at work. They do a really good job with that to make the entire build interesting and not just the parts that people can see. They're almost like secret little areas that are little surprises just for you, the builder, to reward you for building it. I like secret little surprises. Makes them fun. Making a bumper right now, it would seem. So we're still on the rear bits of the car here. And Lex appears to be way calmer than she has been, so that leads me to believe that she is done sorting pieces. Got some green on here, which seems interesting thing to have on this build. I don't remember what the green's for. Alright, oh, remember this piece. This piece is for the, to prop the hood up. And let's see, on the Ferrari, the hood covering the engine is on the back. So this piece just sits right there, and you can lift up the back and use that to hold it up. There's no fancy hydraulics or anything to keep the hood up, like on most modern sports cars. See you later, Cordy. Okay. Get all these in the right spots. Can't remember if this is for license plate area or where the tail lights are going to go. I think that might be the whole. Yeah, tail lights and license plate. Just needed to turn the page. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we are. Okay. Okay. This is the original. The F40 has such a clean look to it. They did a really good job of matching that with this set, especially across the rear of the car here. I'll hold up the this area in just a second. Yeah. So very iconic. Like, even not attached to the car, I feel like if you saw this right here, if you were familiar with the Ferraris, you would see this and think, oh, yeah, that. Even if the F40 thing was on there, you'd see this and think, oh, that is absolutely an F40. So great job modeling it. Think so. That was for the back. This might be a fender area, maybe. I'm less confident in that. Alright, 2. That way we're stepping it down for yet to be determined reasons. Oh, yep. Okay, it's got wheel well written all over it. That subtle curve there. Stickers are already in place. Call that a gift to myself. Part of the rear end here. Oh yeah, because so the entire rear end of the car lifts up naturally. So we got to build all of this as one unit before we can attach it. Okay, let's build the other side. Same exact thing as the other one, just mirrored, as always. I feel like the mirroring is one of the things when we were building the piano, one of the things that I really enjoyed about it, because the piano didn't, other than the keyboard, there wasn't really a whole lot to mirror on the piano. Everything was interesting. The mirroring can be kind of annoying, not annoying, boring. Once you build one half, when you have to go out back and do the exact same thing, just opposite, just kind of like, alright, I've already done this, but I suppose I have to. Okay, put it all together here. Boop. Alright, now keep going. And this thing just keeps getting more and more realistic, matching the actual car. I'll hold it up again here in a second. Including the louvers across the back, which, I don't know, something about those going across the back windshield, something about that to me I've always loved. Always thought that was really cool. Right spot. Yeah, that's right. And it certainly isn't part of a design that you see with most cars nowadays. I can't think of a single one. But it's got such a classically 80s look to it. Maybe 70s. Mostly 80s. That's kind of different. Yeah, Lex is pointing out that the Lambo has this sort of. I guess it would be the same with the Ferrari, actually. No, that's a good point. It's a really good point. Yeah. Modern implementation. Okay. Going the right way. And just a few more pieces left on this tray. Haha. Last ones. Okay. This will be how we connect it. That's it. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So you can see here that really did a great job with the back. I never know if you call it a hood or a trunk at this point when you have a mid or rear engine. what the appropriate word to use is. As you can see, fits great, and then there's this piece that could be used to hold it up, but we need to build a little bit more first before that's actually useful. But still, classic Ferrari, doing a great job here. Let's move it up so you can actually see it. And broken pieces out of here too. Garbage pieces. All right. More pieces that were thankfully printed on and not stickered. This set really had a interesting combination. Usually they really lean heavily one way or the other, and for whatever reason, this set had many pieces that were pre-printed, as well as many pieces that required stickers. So I don't know how they divvied that up with this one, but kind of goes back and forth quite a bit. Yeah, I think this entire set was 2 bags, which for 1,000 pieces, 500. I mean, you can get a box now that has 500 pieces that it contain. That's, 5 bags. So 12 away from 700 at the moment. 12 away. Talk about subscribers? Secret Squirrel? Are we talking numbers of pieces in something, or? I think I'm missing something. Fits in there very nicely. I had forgotten about how well that fits in this set. So they did there's this gap here that we couldn't fill in until we had. So there's a axle that goes through here to give this thing the hinge that it has. Then we had to put some pieces over top of it that we couldn't put there until the axle was in place. But until these pieces were in place, we had to leave these gaps here. And so now we're filling in the gaps with pieces that are exactly the correct shape. So I'd forgotten about that little part. I really loved that in the original build, and I'd forgotten how much I enjoyed that. Okay, and that sticker was already in place, so it needed to go on that side. Okay, and this goes here. This one goes over here. One, two, three, four. And as if this didn't look enough like an F40 from the rear, now we have the beautifully boxy bulky spoiler on there. And it just looks pretty perfect, really. I do think it's great also that Lego chose to use to model the F40 in particular, because the 80s cars kind of went the way of having some very boxy shapes, very, very angular. Like Porsche had the slant nose thing going on, and like things had been sort of reduced down from where they had been to these more boxy elements. And the F50 that they came out with a decade later had the same general shape to the car, but was a little more curvy, a little more swoopy. And certainly when you're building something with Lego like this, boxy is something that Lego bricks can do all day long with their eyes closed. So, to say nothing of emotional impact, the F40 was an excellent choice purely based on that. There's supposed to be a sticker on this one? No. I'm looking here because there's a few pieces that have stickers, and some of these older sets, they separate out when you put the sticker down, or you put the piece down, and then they don't show you that you're supposed to put a sticker on it until a few pages later. So sometimes I kind of have to flip ahead to see if on these sets that I've already done, where there's multiple of the same types of piece, but some have stickers and some don't, kind of have to look ahead to see if there are stickers. Well, either I'm... Oh, there they are. Thought I was going blind. Secret squirrel. Still curious. 12 away from 700 of what? If you're still out there watching, I wasn't sure what that was regarding. This one also won't have a sticker because it's like the other one. Oops. The other side. Symmetry. Using a clever use of the old fence. I had talked about this recently too. Using these fence. Well, what used to be fence bricks for the front grille here. Being extra careful with some of these. There's a few pieces that are just holding on with a single stud and aren't totally secure yet. So I'm trying not to break them while attaching other things to them. They'll firm themselves up here as we attach more things to it, but at the moment they're a little fragile. That'll help. That's a good one. Oh. Okay. Okay. Outside, working our way in. Mirrored and out. So locks it all together. Okay. Front bumper stuff. Two, and two. Still don't remember. Oh, I know why there's these weird green, where these green bits are in the back. We eventually take those off. Those aren't part of the build. That's why those are there. That's why it's such an odd color. It's because they aren't intended to be part of the car. Right now, that's used simply as a platform to keep the whole thing level while we're building it. So one of the nice things they do on some of these things that are meant to sit flat is when you get to parts where there's slight differences in the elevation of the bricks, they will give you what's effectively a spacer like that to keep it from being wobbly until you get to the point where it won't be anymore. So that's why those are there. Oh, almost grabbed the wrong pieces. We need ones with stickers on them. There we go. Okay. Those have been verified flush. There we go. Do the same thing for the other side here. All flush. This goes across. There we have it. Two, and two. Okay. All right. think we're at the point now where areas that I was worried about being flimsier no longer. Much more solid. Aha. Apparently these guys lift up. Oh, it does. Whole front lifts. Which once we have wheels on the car, that will work way easier. But since it's pivoting against a hard surface right now, it still doesn't do that too well yet. But you can see we have a couple of things in the front area here. It looks like maybe a, I don't know, lunchbox or ice chest, and I'd say a can of soda, but it looks more like an oil can and a wrench. And back down, and now we're going to do the fun, again, very, very old school, iconic headlights, motorized headlights. A design element that they no longer make these days. I'm gonna say sadly, even though it's most definitely an improvement. Okay. Two. And which ones do these have stickers? They do have stickers. So those ones. Those ones. Two slanty bits. And two of these black ones. Cool. All right. Outside. One of the things that LEGO did a great job on was, with this set, was carrying elements around the car, regardless of what direction the pieces are going. So these pieces have now been rotated and they're coming out there where the studs are on the side and coming out this way. This black line is still carried through. You can see this black line is carried through regardless of the direction that the pieces are going. So they did a great job with this set of having that design element go around the entire car as it should. So it's nice that they were able to make that work. And there. Okay, stickered headlights go here. Flip down. So you can see these headlights. They'll look better when we're done with the build. And we're getting close. So Point being, I'll be able to show the headlights better in a minute. I think it's been a while since anybody said anything in chat, and I'm wondering if I have the same issue that I had a few weeks ago where I'm just not seeing the updates. And so if you guys are talking and I haven't replied to you, I apologize. The problem, if that's the case, is that I literally can't see what you're saying. So, huh?
Did you see what I just said?
Oh, there's Lex. Yep, okay. I'm still seeing your updates. It's a little quiet out there. That's fine. Quiet on a Sunday. Alright, now we have proper fender and the whole frunk of this thing that can lift up. Make our wheel wells. There we go. Oh, that's probably you, me, Lex, and Dad. And that's okay. I've noticed a lot of people come back and watch these streams after I'm done. Presumably they like to be able to just kind of click through and see progress, so not necessarily interested in the commentary the whole way through. So I think once I start posting more time lapses, I think a lot of people enjoy those. I also shows me stats that people will pop in here and watch for 15 minutes, half an hour, something like that. Pop out, do something else. So it certainly isn't the sort of thing that people need to watch from start to finish. Working on quite a bit. Almost done. Just a few pieces to go. I'm actually happy that this set went as quickly as it did. I think I mentioned this already. I was a little worried today that this set was going to be... It ended up being more pieces than I had remembered it being. And I was worried that this was going to be a marathon build, really. But turns out that wasn't an issue after all. Good timing. Alright. Now we get to do some more cool, subtle sculpting, modeling here. Let's get the scoops and things to be appropriate. Oh, hey, everybody hopping on. Sidewinder, hello. Hello, quality control, the once named. I did go back and look through some of my old streams, and your name has been updated to be Alex Heaney instead of quality control. So it would appear that in the streams it uses whatever your current name is. So I would assume any comments left would do the same. So Sidewinder, you're in perfect timing. This is we're literally putting the last pieces on this Ferrari here. Got the hood clipping up into place. There we go. Now we just got to put our wheels on the thing. Wheels! And do we put the... We do. Okay. Yeah, the F40 had a classic five spoke star design. That they did a good job of modeling for this set. And unlike the big reveal, yeah. Unlike the more technical sets, this one is when the wheels go, it's not attached. The drivetrain is not attached to the engine, so there's nothing moving in the engine, and there's no steering or anything like that. It's almost like you bought yourself a die-cast car, and that's it. It's a good-looking Ferrari. The hood tips up to get you access to the frunk up here. The lights, when you turn your headlights on, they pop up like a cool car should. The rear end, the rear end will pop up, and then you can use this to get it to stick in place. I'll show you how. No, I actually don't know where this is supposed to go to hold it up. Yeah, maybe. I'm not sure. But it definitely looks like the F40 from all angles. The doors do open. We got that going for them. Oh, sorry to hear that, Sidewinder. Yeah, would break a bottle of champagne. This thing would fall to pieces if I did that. But it's got the very, very sparse interior. Appropriately, got the cool looking Ferrari engine in the back. Really is a cool looking set for being as simple as it is. Good looking set. So that is it for those. Let's go back to a better picture to leave it on. Yeah, that's it for today. So thank you all for joining as always. Fun build. We got to honor Enzo on this weekend. So thank you, everyone. If you haven't, maybe start thinking about your dinner. Enjoy the rest of your day. That's it for here. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday and have a great week, everyone. Bye.